Hey there, welcome to CodeChef. Today we're going to be discussing the project Log File Parser. So let's begin. So what the log file basically is, it's a simple text file which contains information on who has accessed the database, or maybe who has deleted data, or who has added some data, or who has modified some data. So basically log file gives us information on who has accessed what at what time and what have they done. So using the information we get from the log file as to who has accessed what, we can make sure that let's say somebody wants to delete the database. If there was no log file, we wouldn't know who accessed what at what time. But then because of a log file, we will get to know who has accessed the database and who has deleted it. So log file is basically like a register you would see at a hotel where they would mark your entry and exit and timings. So we'll be building a simple log file parser which users can generate random logs. So let's say I give generate a new log entry over here. Then it's going to have a list of log levels such as information, warning and error, out of which it's going to choose one at random, and we will have a list of messages like something like low memory or application access, something like that, and it's going to choose at random from both of these lists, both from the levels list and the messages list, and it's going to store it in a text file, that is in the log text file. So our main aim of this function is to know how we can handle logs which we get from a log text file. So let's look at how the project should run. So let's say I give generate a new log entry. So you can see we have gotten a message new log entry added. But what have we even added in the log entry? Like what we have done? Nothing. We have just given generate a new log entry. So we'll just look at what we have generated. So you can see it has chosen at random. So let's say I give once again generate a new log entry, and this time I display. You can see both of them are different. So it's going to randomly choose from the messages list and the level list, and it's going to give it out. The word in the square bracket is the level, and outside the square bracket whatever text is there is the message. So let's say I give filter logs by level, and I want to filter by info. So you can see it's going to show the second log that we did. So let's look at the flow of this particular project. First you have to accept the user input as to what they want to do, whether they want to generate a new log entry, view logs, or whatever other functionalities we have over here. And if user selects generate a log, we will have two lists as I told previously, the message list and the level list. We are going to generate a random log entry with a random message and a random log level. And then we are going to append that particular log entry or that log message to a log text file. And then we are going to tell the user, okay, yeah, it's done. Basically a confirmation message. And if the user wants to view our logs, we are going to open the log text file and read all the log entries, and we are going to display it on the console. And once again, if there are no log entries, we should display an error message. And for filter log levels, we are going to ask the user as to what kind of log level they want to filter by, whether it's info, warning or error. And based on that, we are going to read the log file, and if there are any matching log entries with these particular levels, then we are going to print that out in the console, or else we will give an error message. And if the user wants to search a log by a keyword, it can be any kind of keyword in the log. So let's say I want to search a log entry saying database deleted, or maybe application started. So we should take input from the user to give a keyword, like let's say application, and then we're going to use that keyword, and we're going to read the log file and compare whether or not that exists in the log file. If that exists, we're going to display every log entry which has that particular keyword. And if the user wants to view log statistics, we're going to give information like total number of logs, what was the latest log, and number of different log levels. Like for example, let's say there are 3 log entries with info level, there are 2 log entries with error level, then we are going to print it out each level of log entries, or else we are going to exit the program. And the program should run infinitely until the user wants to exit. That is, I can basically generate infinite number of log entries and filter them accordingly. So in the first subtask of the log file parser project, we are going to be focusing on generating the log. That is the first particular functionality of this project. So let's look at the task for this particular subtask. We should write the generate log function, and then we should write the log to the log file without overwriting or modifying any of the previous logs in the log file. And it should be present in a new line. Like let's say there are 5 logs, those 5 logs shouldn't be on the same line. It should be on different lines. That is, we need to give a new line character so that Python prints out the log messages on new lines. have to generate a simple confirmation message. So as I told previously, this is a simple log file parser where we are not going into the specifics of what the user is doing. Rather, we are choosing out of a given fixed list. But in real world log file systems, we will have information like this: user logged in, database connection failed, and it'll be more specific. That is, there they're not choosing at random. There they're given according to what the user has done. But over here, we're doing just random to understand how logging works. So let's look at the code. First, we're going to import the random module from Python to import the function from which we can randomly choose from a list. And then we're going to import the datetime function because we want to print out at what time the user has generate the log message. Like let's say I give it at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, it should show accordingly at what time I've given. So first we will initialize a log file over here, and then we have a log level list out of which the program will choose at random to display while generating. And once again we have a messages list over here. You can see there are multiple messages out of which Python will choose at random. Now let's look at the function for this particular subtask, generate log. So first we're going to have a timestamp variable which will show the current time. So over here we have given date time twice because this date time refers to the module which we imported over here. And this date time, it refers to the class inside that module. So over here, instead of giving just import date time, if I give import date time from date time, then what would happen was I would be importing the class date time from the module date time, and then directly I could give datetime.now. But since over here we have just imported the module, what we will be doing is we will be first referencing the module, and inside that module we are referencing the datetime class, and inside that datetime class we are referring to the now function which will give out the current time. So the reason why we given strf time and this particular thing over here is because we want to format that time. The reason why we are formatting time over here is because the time we get over here from this function is not readable to the user. We want to format it in a particular way that is easier to read for the user. So that's why we have given strf time, and this is the format in which we want to format the particular time. So percentage capital Y stands for year, percentage small m stands for month, percentage small d stands for day, and over here stands for time. Capital H stands for hour, capital M stands for minute, and capital S stands for second. So over here you can see we imported the random choice function from the random module. So we're going to take a random level and assign it to level, and then we're going to take a random message from the messages list and give it to this message variable. And now we're going to have a log entry variable where we are going to give the timestamp, level, and the message. Now why have we given F over here? The F over here stands for format. So basically whatever is present in the curly braces, the actual value will be evaluated at runtime. That is, whatever is present in this particular variable will be printed out. So let's say I had not given F and just timestamp. Then when I would print log entry, it would print out the actual word timestamp. But what I want to do is I want to print out the value of timestamp. That is the value we get from running this function over here. So by giving curly braces, I'm going to be getting the actual value instead of the word timestamp. And similarly, it's the same for level and message. And the reason why we're given square brackets over here is because that is the format in which we want to print. You can see over here, info is present in square brackets. That is, the level is present in square brackets. That's why we're given square brackets over here. Now over here, we are opening the log file. So this particular line is giving us rules as to how to open the log file. So with open log file, the file we want to open in append mode. The A over here stands for append mode. So we are opening the log file in append mode. And we're going to import it as F. That is, whenever we want to reference this particular file, we are going to give F. So you can see right over here, I've given f.write. That is, I want to write to this log file. So I've given f.write. Then I'm going to print out the log entry over here. And then I'm going to print out a new line because they've clearly asked us that new log messages should be printed in the new line. And then we're going to print out new log entry added. And that's it for this particular function. So these rest of the functions will be defined in the next subtasks. Over here, we have the user choice function. So basically we're writing a bunch of if-else cases over here as to regarding which choice the user chooses. We have to direct them to which function. For example, the choice 1, user will be directed to generate log function. and for choice 2 respectively, the user will be directed to view logs function. Similarly, we have till 6. And for 6, which is exit, we're going to print out exiting goodbye, and we're going to return empty. And else, if user gives any other input other than 1 to 6, we're going to print out invalid choice, try again. Now in the main function, first we're going to run an infinite loop, and then after that we're going to print out the options the users have and which choice they should choose accordingly. So we are taking choice as an input from the user over here, and then we are passing that choice on to the user choice function, where the user will be redirected to the particular functionality which the user wants. And dot strip over here, it's used to remove any kind of white space or a new line character present. Let's say I give input as 2 space. So then what should happen is that white space shouldn't really affect the input. So that's why we're removing the white space using this dot strip function. So let's just run this code once. So let's say I give generate new log entry. New log entry has been added successfully. We can't view this right now because we haven't defined that yet. We'll be defining it in the further subtasks. Let's just submit this code once. So you can see we have passed both of the test cases. Let's move on to the next subtask.